today I want to teach us about web development. If you want to learn web development, you start from the backbone, the basics. And the basic that you need first of all is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you're able to learn JavaScript and HTML and CSS, that is the backbone, that is the foundation. Okay, and that is what makes up the front end development. Okay, JavaScript is also used in the back end, right? So some people try to jump and start learning back end immediately, but you'll be missing a lot if you don't have a foundation of the front end before learning the back end. All right, let's dive in. I want to teach you the foundational things you need first. First of all, you need VS Code, Visual Studio Code. That is the coding app that we need to run our apps. Okay, so if you want to learn this code, you need to download the one that is for your version. If you're on Windows computer, you will see options of the ones to download. Okay, if you need deep Windows, you say download. If you click here, you see more options. Okay, so you can download for Windows, for Mac, if you are using a Mac computer. Okay, so then when you download it, you install it. I already have it on my computer, so I launch my VS Code. Okay, I have some code here. Okay, so I teach coding, so I have folders I use for my teaching here. Okay, so what you will get in this course. Okay, today I'm dealing with JavaScript. Okay, let me just. So when you launch your VS Code, you come to this environment. So you can go to File. You can say open the folder. Okay, where you can create a folder in your document. You can just say new. You can create a new folder. Let's call it learn coding. Okay, so when you select it, you open. I need to shut down the former. Okay, so can you say the folder has opened, which says learn coding? I have to shut down this thing. So inside this learn coding folder, I can create another folder. Then I'll call this one. Let's call it HTML. We are starting with HTML. HTML intro. Okay. Now inside this HTML intro, this is a folder. You can now create a new file called, let's call it index.html. Once you put this .html, okay, it tells the computer that this is an HTML file, so it will interpret it correctly. So I have an HTML file. So for us to write an HTML file, there are many different versions of HTML, but the one we're using is doc type HTML. So there is something we call boilerplate, the starting file that we need. So if I hold down my shift key and press the exclamation code and press enter, it gives me the boilerplate, that is the template for starting an HTML file. So this tells the computer I'm writing the doc type HTML, which is one of the latest, how to use our boilerplate to write HTML. So when you want to write HTML code, this is the body section. From here, this body, and this is the opening tag of the body, and this is the closing tag. All these things we have here are called HTML elements. They are all HTML elements. There are more than 100 different HTML elements for making components of the website. So the first component we want to write is the heading. There are 6 levels of heading: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. In a particular page, there is only one H1. You can have many H2s and many H3s. So H1 could be whatever is the title of the website. Let's say we want to build a picture website, the title of the, so whatever you want to call it, let me just call it, okay, heading of our website, photo website, or whatever. So that's the heading. It's big, it's formatted and bold, and given a bold kind of formatting, because websites always have big formatting when it's the heading. Okay, now we could have a paragraph explaining what our website is about. Okay, just say maybe this is a photo. This is not a writing class, so let me just copy any paragraph I have. Okay, so you could have a paragraph explaining what the website is about. Then you need a subheading. This brings us to level 2 heading. Okay, so call this one first subheading. It's a little bit, the formatting is a little bit smaller than the H1. The H1 is supposed to be the biggest, though you can format the way you want, all right, actually. So now after you have this H2, now you could have some paragraph you want to put. Probably you want a bigger paragraph. Okay, let me copy that text. Then you write your paragraph P. So you have the opening tag also, like we have in the body and in the H1. You have your closing tag with / after the closing angle bracket here. Then you paste your bigger paragraph here. All right. You could now I could replicate this text 2 or 3 times or more. All right. So then you could have your third level heading. Okay. Can call it a subheading of the first subheading. Whatever your website is about, you name it like that. Okay. So you right click, show preview, you see the preview here. If you don't have this preview, you can go to extension. This is extension, and install Prettier. Then after installing Prettier, you install live preview. Okay, this should be it. So when you install it, I already have it. You click here to install. Then that's what I'm using to view this website right inside the VS Code environment. Okay. Also, if you want to view this on your browser, you copy this preview here and then paste on Google. Okay, you see the preview right from your Google platform. Sorry. Okay, let me continue. So, just like that, you develop your website. With content. Okay. With content. Let me use this one that I already have. Correct. Now, I told you there are more than 100 different HTML elements. Let's introduce you to more elements. For instance, these ones are elements that have opening and closing tags. There are elements that don't have closing tags. For instance, horizontal row, HR. It only has, once you write this now, if you check the Google, can you see there's a horizontal row here? All right. So you could also close it inside here, but you don't need to write something like this, like a closing tag like this, and now say HR. No, you don't need to do this. So they are self-closing. Okay. Now there are other elements. For instance, image element. If you want to put image in your website, it also doesn't need a closing tag. At most, you put the closing tag right inside here. Then it has attributes inside it. So this SROC says the source of the image, where you are getting the image from. And this is alt, explanation for the image, okay? Okay, you just explain what the image is about, website image. It helps screen readers, people that don't see, to understand what the image is about. Then you could pick the link to the image. For instance, if you come to Google, then you come to images, you find any image you like, any image you like at all. Let me take this one. Click on image address, copy image address. Come inside this SROC, just right inside the quotation and you paste it. If you check now on our preview, can you see the image is here? And one thing about the image source is not a block element. What I mean by block element, these ones, they don't allow other elements to stay beside them. If you check this website, it did not allow this paragraph to stay after it. The paragraph did not allow this one to stay outside it. This paragraph did not allow other elements to stay beside it, except we manipulate it with CSS. When it comes to CSS, I'll teach you that when we get to that point. All right. So, but this image element, if I am to copy it now, let me reduce this thing so you can be seeing it more. So this image element, if I paste this one here and go back to the preview, can you see it allows image to stay beside it, because it's not, so far as there is still space here, it will allow content to stay beside it. It's not a block element. So I can put more. I can put like 4 of those images. All right, can you see? So right click, format. Let me format. Click on format with Prettier. That extension I asked you to install. So it will make our code more readable. Can you see how it has formatted the opening tag, the closing tag, then the contents, the inner HTML. These ones are called inner HTML. What you have in between the opening and closing tag is called the inner HTML. Can you see how it has formatted this image? It's now more readable. See the opening, see the closing. See the opening, see the closing. All right. Okay, so I'm going to make this video a little bit short. So these are for images. Then you can decide to add more headings. Maybe you want to add in a H4, a smaller heading. Okay, say maybe attributes of web development. Okay. Can you see the image is a title, but it's smaller than this, and this is smaller than this. All right, and this is smaller than the H1. So can you see how we are developing? This is our website. Okay, so this is it. Then finally, for today's class, you have what we call the anchor element. Anchor element, and it has an attribute. HTML elements always come with some attributes. Just like a human being, there are human beings that have attributes that make them, you say, okay, this man is tall, okay, this man is fair in complexion. Those are attributes, qualities, characteristics. So HTML elements, they also come with characteristics. And those characteristics or those attributes are written right inside the opening tag. And this one is href, just like image has SROC, the source where you are getting the link of the image, and the alternate text where you're explaining what the image is about. So this one is href, hyperlink reference. For instance, if you put the inner HTML Google, you can say visit Google. For instance, visit Google website. Then if you say https://www.google.com, that's the link to Google. If you save this and come to your website, can you see it has introduced a link which if I click on it, it takes me to google.com. All right, that's all for today's class. Follow the next class. It will be titled, this one is going to be titled Intro to HTML1. The next one is going to be Intro to HTML2. Just like that, I'll be teaching you web development for free. All I need you to do for me is to like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel to make the video more recommended for people that need it. So people like you who also need a course, so that it can encourage me to teach you this for free. All right, see you in the next episode.